Well, hey YouTube, welcome back once again, my friends, to Whiskey 3 Charlie Tango, W3CT, your good old friend Jack. I'm up here once again in the Jack Shack. That just has a ring to it, doesn't it? So, in this video, I'm sure the title and the thumbnail should give it away. I am building a common mode choke. Okay, first shot ever building a choke. I've watched some YouTube videos and I thought I could probably build one. I know you could buy them, but it would be easier just to go ahead and build it. So let me go ahead and show you my parts list, tell you a little bit about what I'm planning today, and we'll see if we can get this together right after this. Okay guys, so common mode choke. Why do I need a choke? I usually use an air choke, as you've seen on my coax cable, and I've shown that in videos. I've also used ferrite beads clipped on the coax, which seems to work okay. But I thought maybe I could do something as a better choke, you know, and the situation just came up. As you've seen probably in my last video, I think this won't come out right after that one, I built the Pico Keyer. Now I took the Pico Keyer and I bought a new magnet mount antenna mount for my car. So I put the magnet mount antenna on the car. I put the Wolf River coil into there, and I did put a one, I guess at that point you'd call it a counterpoise more than a radial, because the bottom of the mount that I bought is rubber, and I figured that's insulating it so the car cannot actually be the ground radials, is what I was thinking. Now I don't know, that could be totally wrong. Anyhow, I plugged the Pico Keyer into the radio, and every time I keyed the radio, I wish I would have recorded, was go grrr, grrr, grrr. So it dawned on me that maybe, just maybe, I'm getting reflected power back into the car because the coax isn't real long on the magnet mount antenna. It's directly on the car, so the car is probably radiating, I would guess. And that's the only thing I can think of. Because when I took the keyer off of the radio and I just plugged the key in, I transmitted just fine. I was on 30 meters too, so I don't know if that's a variation of, what frequency of the band I was on. So that happened, and then what I did was, once I finished an activation, I plugged the keyer back in, and I turned the transmitter off. So it was just on oscillator, so I could hear the keyer. And the keyer worked absolutely fine. So there was absolutely nothing wrong with the keyer, the Pico Keyer. It was running great. But every time I'd put it back in transmit mode and either key the key or hit the button on the Pico Keyer, the radio went ballistic. I mean, just ballistic. It was like, blur. It was just horrible. So anyway, let me go ahead now. We're going to show you the parts, or I'm going to show you the parts here that I'm planning on using today. And it's extremely cold weather right now outside. It's been, the temperature's dropping like -17 today. I guess the wind chill or the fill effect is, or whatever they say. So, I thought today'd be a great day. I'm going to have to turn the heater on in the garage later. I don't know what parts of that you'll see, because I'm going to have to drill my box out. So I bought a small utility box. Okay, let's go ahead and show you the parts so we can talk about that and get moving on here. But that's the reasoning behind it, is to try to get the RF energy, the reflected RF energy from hitting the radio and screwing this keyer up, man, because the keyer is awesome and I want to use it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so in my fashion of doing things, the first thing I like to do is lay out all the project equipment that I'm going to need. From wire ties to snippers to strippers, right? So I want to lay everything out, all the parts, make sure I have everything ready to go. And then I'm going to start by winding the toroid. Now, I did have a gentleman say, look, Jack, it's nice that you show these videos, but you don't describe what you're using. So I'm going to do better this time. So what I'm using here is this toroid, and it's an FT-140-43. Now, I probably bought all this gear on Amazon, so as I find the links, I'll put them in the descriptions down below. So that way, if you're looking for this equipment, you can just easily produce this kit that I'm building or putting together. And the pricing on these was not extremely expensive, so, but I won't list the prices. Like I said, I'll list the links down there. You click on it and see what the current price is, because prices can change, right? And I don't really know when you're watching this video. So this is the toroid. It's a little thicker. You see the thickness there. The diameter is not real big. All right. I didn't want something real large. I mean, it's basically not going to be for any more than 20 watts. So I'm sure this is going to handle 20 watts just fine. So that is what I'll be using. Hopefully I can get the coax wound in there okay. Next up, and I'll show you the coax next. The coax that I chose to buy is RG, it looks like 316 coax cable. RG316, that's what it looks like. One gentleman I watched said this will do quite well with probably even up to 100 watts. So, you know, and I bought it. What? How much is in here? It doesn't say. I don't know. It seems to me like this is either 30 or 50 feet. So you can make a lot of chokes with this wire. And I figure if this goes well, I'll probably make some more just to have them on hand. Never hurts to have enough chokes to, you know, get rid of that RF energy. So this is the coax I'll be using. The connectors that I chose, and I have other connectors out in the garage, but I'm going to be using the SO239 connectors. Because like I said, I have regular coax coming from the antenna on the car mount. It's pre-built into the car mount, the magnet mount. So I'll put that in here, and then I'll come out the other side, obviously, right? I'll come out the other side with, I don't know, you guys tell me. I don't know if I can have this thing next to the radio or if I need to have it out by the antenna. So I'm thinking I want to put it out by the antenna. And then what I'm going to do is screw the coax in. I have a 25-foot piece of coax. I'm going to screw in here, have this out next to the antenna, just to make sure none of that power is traveling back down the coax to the radio. I think that was my issue. So I got 4 of these. I only need 2. So you need 2 of these. You need the toroid. You need the coax. And obviously I needed a project box. So I bought this project box. Hopefully it's going to work out okay. It looks like it's going to be deep enough to get that in there. I would think it probably, yeah, it looks like it's going to be plenty deep enough to get that in there. It's got the rubber gasket on it. Not that I'll be really leaving it outside. I mean, I'll be using it outside, you know, I'm sure going portable in the rain or in the snow or whatever. So this is the actual project box I bought. Now, I would like to have chosen black. I'm kind of fond of a black box, but, you know, a white box should do. That's the total size of it. But what we're going to have to do today is, and I probably won't show it because I've never done it, I'm going to have to drill some holes in here. And I bought a step-down bit. Somebody said use a step-down bit. So you drill a hole and then just drill real slow with a step-down bit. I should be able to get that centered and fit in there really nicely. And then get my connectors soldered in. So that's my goal for the day. All right. So I think, first of all, what I'm going to do here, and you probably are not going to see it in the video because I think that part of the video is really boring, and that's probably why a lot of people don't show it. I'm going to start figuring out how much coax I'm going to need to wrap around this toroid and get that set up. Now, I've seen people make chokes, and you can yell at me all you want and tell me, Jack, you're crazy, but I like, constructive criticism. So if I did something that offended you or did something that didn't seem right, leave that in the comments below and let me know if I could do something better. But what I've seen is basically 9 or 10 wraps. But really, I don't feel personally, you know, less is bad. Let's just say that way. I don't feel if I did 10 or even if I had 15 wraps on there. I think more is better when you're building a choke. The better choke you can get it, the better it's going to be, as long as you're not losing signal strength. So that's my theory anyway. Like I said, I'm totally new to building things, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So, all right, let me go ahead. I'm going to wrap the toroid. Once I do that, I'll come back and show you what I got. So let me go ahead and start with that part of the project. Okay, I figured I'd show you at least how I'm starting it. Now, the only thing I've ever built with a toroid before was my end-fed half-wave. I did build that. So I did the same kind of thing. I put the first wrap on it, and I put a zip tie on here so I can hold it. Now, I cut this coax. I actually gave myself probably way too much, but I cut it at 4 feet. So I'll let you know at the very end how much I actually used, because I know it's a 4-foot piece of cable. So once I get done and I have to cut it off, I'll measure the remaining and tell you what you really need to have on this thing. But my biggest thing right now is my question, and you guys will probably be like, hey Jack, you should watch more videos. But anyway, my biggest question is right now, do I only have to go halfway around this toroid? I think I'm going to go I think I'm going to go all the way up to here. As you see, I started it underneath for the box. So I think I'll go up to here and come back underneath to the other side to get to the other connector. Like I said, that's my thought. I'll tell you the total wraps once I get done, but the average I've seen is 9 to 10 wraps, or 9 to 10. So I went through once. I went over and under, so obviously you know that counts as 1. So, all right, let me go ahead and get that rolling along here and get this thing wrapped up. And then I'll show you my final product. Hopefully it's going to turn out okay. Fingers crossed. Okay, folks, well, I got the toroid wrapped. This is what I came up with. So as I said, it comes under to go to the one side. Then across the top, it comes over to go to the other side here. I left about, I don't know, this much room. I don't know how much that is, but so I figured I didn't want the input going through the output, you know, so I left a little space. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. You guys will tell me in the comments. So I ended, well, I actually was going to end with 13 turns, and I hate the number 13, so I ended with 14 turns is what I ended up with. And you can see how much I got left. Like, you know, probably, well, I'll tell you at the end of the video how much I've left over here, but because I'm going to have to leave some so I can get to the other side of the box. But as I said, I started with 4 feet of this coax, and yeah. So now I got to strip this down and see if I can't get the braiding off of there, so I can get the braid on the ground, get the center pin in the center pin, and get this one cut down. But I think before I do that, I'm going to have to turn the heat on in the garage, mark the box out, drill my holes so I know how much wire to cut off to get to the connectors. So, but yeah, I think so far it's turning out okay. I just hope it works. So, thumbs up, keep your fingers crossed. I'll see you back here in the second part of this project here, when I'm trying to get this thing, and I'll get this all soldered up in there, but yeah, I'll show you the box once I get it set up and get the connectors in, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, sometimes, you know, I'm just so proud of my own work. It really was not hard to get this drilled out. But if you look through there, can you see the other side? It's straight. I measured these out, marked my hole, started with a small bit, naturally, went to a little bit bigger bit, and then, guys, I went to the step-down bit. And I tell you what, you have to have a step-down bit if you're building these projects. It just makes it so much easier to drill things out and know the depth that you're going. The drill bit, the step-down bit, I did buy from Amazon, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll link that below also with all these project parts here. But yeah, it really turned out really, really nice. And if you look here, and I still got to get all this together now and solder it up and everything, but and show you the final product. But look at that fit and finish. And I still have plenty of threads in there to get the nut on the back of. I was kind of worried about that. We're going to turn this up like this so we can solder to the top of the center lead there. And then, as I said, the braid or the ground will just go to the edge of this ring here. So yeah, but I was really, Really super impressed with that step down bit. It makes life really, really easy. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the toroid in there, get it soldered up. As traditional fashion, when I'm doing projects, I'm not going to show you the soldering. I think that's kind of a boring step for you, but I'll show you the finished product. The soldering is going to take a little bit of time and effort, and I would suggest, just if you're doing any soldering, I'm going to put a little bit of flux on there. I have a little brush. I'll put a little bit of flux on there before I solder, just to make sure the edges are cleaned up. So we can get that center conductor in there, and I have to figure out how to hold it and get it soldered. All right, guys, I'll show you the product when I'm done. Okay, so as you guys may have noticed about my videos, when I mess up, I'm going to tell you I messed up, and that's just the way it is. I mean, things happen when you're building projects, and it's just no way around it sometimes. But I think it'll be okay. It's still going to work, but I'm going to show you what I did here. So first of all, I got everything soldered in. What I'm going to do, though, this thing's bouncing around a little bit here, so I'm going to hot glue that down. I think that'll be fine. So that's my next step here. I'm going to use a hot glue gun. Throw some glue in there and glue that down. But the connector's all good. Everything's tight. Everything's soldered. So you're going, Jack, if everything looks good, why is it messed up? Never or always, how about this? Always watch your soldering iron's angle of attack. See that? I melted it. I was like soldering the connector over here, and I was like, what's that plastic smell? And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding. Right there. But I checked it, and if you put the lid on, you're not going to notice it too much. I mean, you know, it's a scuff. That's my scuff mark. That's my first ever choke with a scuff mark. You know, if you watch these videos, if nothing else, learn what not to do. But yeah, so far it came out good. The hardest part was, and I knew it would be hard, is getting the center conductor soldered into the center of the SO239s. That was the hardest part. What I can tell you is that wire is actually, it's not a solid wire. It's a stranded wire. So tin it first. So what is tinning? If you've never soldered before, tinning is the act of heating the wire up. Get all the wires twisted together real nice and tight. Okay, twist them all up. It was up here somewhere. It's like sitting up here. Lightly touch your soldering iron under it, and just very lightly touch the solder on top of it and tin it. So to make a solid connector is what you're doing. But yeah, everything seems to be in. Just checking my solder joints. The solder joints all look very tight. So I think I'm okay. I still don't know if it's going to work. You guys are probably like right now watching this going, oh, that'll never work, Jack. What are you talking about? But hey, it's a project. You know, I'm impressed with how nice it came out, other than that mess up. But hey, what are you going to do? All right, guys, let me glue this up, and I'll show you what I got after I get it glued. And then I'll show you the finished product once it's all screwed together. Okay, guys, well, it's hot glued in there. It's not going anywhere now. I learned about using hot glue on projects when I built my 49-to-1 end-fed half-wave. And if you're looking for that kit for the 49-to-1, if you're looking for a kit to build, it was fun. I'll also put that in the link in the description below. I actually purchased that kit, as well as purchased all this equipment here. All these links will be in the description below also. Yeah, it's not coming out of there now. Turn it over. It's not moving around, not jarring around. I just really hope it works. Who knows? But anyway. All right. Let me go ahead, and I'm going to put the lid on. I got the gasket in the lid. That was relatively simple. You just have to push it down through. There, it comes with the gasket. And it comes with all the screws. So I'm going to put it together outside of my little oops. But that's all right. You know, who's really going to see this except me? It's a filled choke. That's what I needed this for. I needed a filled choke. All right, let me do that, put this together, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the project. Just to throw this in there, I had 1 foot of the coax cable left. So if you do this project with the parts that I'm listing below, all you'll need to have is 3 feet of coax will be plenty. So I cut 4 and I have 1 foot left. I just wanted to toss that into the video here, just to I just remembered I would tell you that what I had left over. So yep, cut it at 3 foot and you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, guys. So this was a nice project. As I said, it's very cold outside. It's like -17 wind chill factor or something. Even going out in the garage with the heat on. Oh, I gotta shut the heat off in the garage, but we don't leave it heated all the time. And it's a detached garage. You've seen the garage before. But even going out there to drill the holes, I mean, it was cold in the garage, even with the heat on. So, but anyway, it was a good project. Hopefully it was successful. I hope it works. You guys will be telling me on here, Jack, that'll never work, or that doesn't look like a choke. But from what I've seen online and everything I've read, so a choke really is nothing more than a coax wrapped around a toroid. So, everything about this box is good. I'm just trying to make sure I can see me here. And once I sealed it up, even my oops almost went away. Check this out. You almost can't tell it's there. But that's the finished box. 4 screws on the top, all sealed up. It doesn't matter with the choke which way is in or out. It's not going to make a difference. I mean, it's just coax wrapped around a toroid. So, but as I said, I needed this to use my Pico keyer in the car with that mobile mount antenna. I'll see if it works when I'm out there, see what kind of results I get with it. But I needed one anyway. I've never had a choke. So, even putting antennas up in the field, they said you should choke them. I use an air choke, and I said I use the ferrite beads on my small coax cables. I mean, it seems to work okay. I don't get anything back. But that mobile antenna is just weird, man. Maybe you guys can tell me, is the mobile antenna when you magnet mount on the car? And I had, like I said, I had one, I guess, counterpoise more or less, not really ground radial. One of the 33-foot wires coming off, laying over the car and going out into the snow. And the coax is coming right in the window. I mean, was that a bad deal? Was the car becoming a part of the antenna at that point, and radiating and putting RF energy? I mean, I'm only using 20 watts on the G90, but still, it really messed that keyer up. So, all right, well, I hope you've liked this build. I'm not going to let this video go any longer. I appreciate you stopping by to check it out. I appreciate all the great comments out there. And again, I love, constructive criticism. I don't like the stuff where, Jack, you're an idiot, and you're going to get those on videos. That's fine. It happens. But, give me criticism. Let me know, what would you have done differently with this? Is there anything you would have done differently? I mean, it turned out exactly the way I was thinking with the parts that I bought. Again, all the parts for this, as well as the 49-to-1 end-fed half-wave, will be in the description below. I purchased everything. I purchased the end-fed half-wave, so I'm not advertising. It works, man. It just truly works. If you ever wanted to build a kit, either start with something like this or start with an antenna, right? Everything in here is pretty inexpensive. So, all right. Thank you so much for watching. This is Whiskey 3 Charlie Tango, W3CT, your good old friend Jack. Guys, 73s, thanks to everybody out there subscribing to the videos. If you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that. And, I'm just here to kind of entertain and let you follow along with my ham radio journey. Guys, 73s, hope to catch you on the airways. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.